welcome everybody to Cabinet on Tuesday the 1st of June, nice and sunny, and it's the first time you've actually been back in this council chamber since we went into lockdown. So are we the first ones to use this as a committee, or have we had other meetings last week? Is it first? All right, so we're the first ones to use this. We used this last Friday for interviewing. But anyway, it's so nice to see you all, and hopefully, you know, if there's any issues that we identify, we'll iron them out. But I think it's working so far. We've got a couple of members that have asked to join in, so they will be direct. No? No? Okay, fair enough. I've been told not to. I think we've got everybody here. We've got one apology from Councillor Cassie Scott. Secretary, please record that. She's not here today. Eric will probably join us. Okay. So besides that, that's the membership of the cabinet. We've got a new cabinet member, Councillor Will Simpson. Welcome, Will. I'm sure you'll be a great addition to the team. You've already got quite a bit of experience in another area of work, so you know we'll hopefully we'll make the best use of that. And also Councillor Eric First, who's not here at the moment, but he's an addition to our cabinet. And I've got to say that, you know, it's with a heavy heart that I've got to say that one of our cabinet members at the last election lost his seat. Councillor Graham Turner. He was a stalwart of a cabinet member and a councillor. He had a big portfolio that he looked after really well for the last few years, and you know, he will be missed. But he said to me when I spoke to him straight after the election that he's still going to be around. So it's good to say that, you know, he's you know, still active and well and alive, and kicking, sort of speaking. But anyway, we'll go into the meeting. Minutes of the previous meetings, are they correct record? Yes, thank you. Admission of the public. We don't have any public admissions now. It feels quite funny actually after all these months, right? You know, having a real meeting. It seems quite strange. Item 3, admission of the public. I haven't got any. Deputations and petitions. There is no deputations and petitions. Any questions by the member of the public? We haven't got any members of the public, so we don't need to worry about that. Item 6, questions by elected members. We don't have any elected members here, so we'll move on. Item 7, if you have any declaration of interest, please complete the form and hand it in to Andrea at the end of the meeting. Item 8, 2-year highways capital plan, 2021-22, 22-23. You've got 3 minutes, Naheed, starting from now.
Thank you, Leader. Thank you, Leader. I'm happy to bring this Highways 2-year detailed capital plan for 2021, 2022 and 22 and 23. And when we talk about highways, we need to appreciate that austerity starved the service back to the bare bones, and both in terms of financial and human resources, and the service is only just beginning to build up and catch up to where it should be. Despite this, the staff have done a fantastic job of delivering a good service, and I'd just like to mention the areas that they've been working on in the past financial year. Despite the pandemic. So number of potholes that were filled were over 43,500 potholes were repaired. Street lighting and lamps replaced, 6,400 old lamps replaced with LED. That's now 82% of our street lighting is LED, with a saving of 60% of the energy and carbon generated. LED programme value delivered over this last financial year is 2.7 million. And in terms of road conditions, 11.4 million was invested in improving the condition of roads and our pavements. The programme of 20 kilometres of road surface dressed and 40, is it kilometres, am I supposed to say, of roads resurfaced was completed. Gullies gullies that were cleaned, and were over 65,000 were cleared, and actually it made a great deal of service in relation to our elongated winter that we've had. Number of winter grits went up because of the lengthy winter season, 85, which extended by the season extended by 5 weeks. COVID cycling schemes delivered and COVID measures installed across the borough. So, in relation to this, the Highways Capital Plan outlines the investment in the highways asset, including road surfacing, street lighting structures, road safety, walking and cycling, flood management, drainage, traffic signals, car parks, and public transport provision. I don't think the members of public realise just the scope of coverage by the service. The background papers are included in Appendix A and B, which lists the Highways 2-year detailed capital plan and Highways And I'd like to ask Cabinet to approve the detailed programme of works to be implemented over the next 2 years. The detailed capital plan in the sum of £22,984,237 and £18,508,325 respectively, as shown in Appendix A, to allow the spend on the schemes identified to improve the highways network and increase safety on the roads whilst improving air quality and saving energy. The delegation of powers to the Service Director of Highways and Streets seen in consultation with Cabinet Portfolio Holder for Environment to enable amendments to identified schemes and funding allocated for those schemes in accordance with the Council financial regulations for the purposes of expediting efficiency delivery of this programme. The report was somewhat delayed. It is crucial that we pass, the Cabinet approves this today. It was delayed because of the government being late in coming forward with the spend for the programmes. So I ask my Cabinet colleagues to approve this detailed programme outlined for the next 2 financial years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Heed-Mather. Anybody want to second that? Thank you, Councillor McBride. Anybody wants to say anything? Any comments? Any comments? Will, you're looking around. Do you want to say anything?
Yes, thank you very much, Leader. And I just must say it's really nice to be here with you all and see you all face to face again. Of course, absolutely welcome this report on the investment, particularly if I can be parochial for a minute in my ward, and I'm sure other members will do for their own wards as well. And while we welcome this, I'm sure we're all going to be honest and say that this isn't going to fix every issue that we've got on the highways. I'm sure we can all think of other roads that we'd like to see in our own wards, and that's why it's disappointing to read about, you know, a further reduction in funding for highways maintenance that we're getting from government. You can't level up the country without funding local government properly, and we can't have our highways to the standards we want them to be without having the proper funding from government. But this report is, of course, absolutely welcome. And if I can just say as well as the highways, really pleased to see and welcome the success of the LED light conversion, as you mentioned, Councillor Mather, which is delivering savings, monetary and carbon and energy reductions as well. And as well as that, the additional funding for air quality, which of course is part of my new portfolio as well. So all good news. Thank you very much, and absolutely supportive of this.
Thank you, Councillor Will Simpson. Anybody? Councillor Viv Kendrick?
Thank you, Leader. Really pleasing to see the 82% of LED street lights, and both in Councillor Mather's presentation and a note on page 20. This may be a fairly innocent question of mine, because I don't know about these things perhaps, but you know, it's made a saving of 60% of energy used. So that's a saving to the authority. So is there any contemplations that some of that funding saved is actually invested back into the highways budget?
Thank you, Councillor Kendricks. And of course, every penny is invested back into the council and our programmes. It's never enough, as Councillor Simpson says, but I'm delighted that we are making a start in bringing up to fit for purpose the highways programme, because it's lagging behind nationally over 80 years. And what people see, it's our face. And during the campaign, what people wanted to know is my roads, my pavements, and why not today, why not tomorrow? And I think people, both within the council and our residents, felt recognised that it's such a huge operation that has to coordinate both internally across services and with our external partners to deliver. And despite the pandemic, the list is huge of our achievements, and we need to be able to shout about those, and in the meantime always looking upwards and outwards in terms of extra funding. And now that we have a West Yorkshire Mayor, maybe we'll get more funding drawn down and get on with the huge promises that we've made and ambitions we've set for the service. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Kendrick.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to come back about that, because I'm not aware and not convinced that our highways service pays the budget for lighting. If they do, and they get that money back in the budget, all well and good. But if it's paid by another bit of the service, I'd like some thought to be given that money was put into highways service.
So what's the question is, Aid, and if you can't answer, we've got Colin.
I'm going to ask the Director, Colin Parr, to come in here.
That's what, yeah. Colin, that money that we are saving here, does that go back in? And there was a question that we've mentioned.
We can look into ring fencing it to go back into highway schemes. It sits within environment and climate change, the energy budgets for the authority, and we'll look at ensuring those savings are reinvested in the highways function.
Anyone else? Paul? Councillor Paul Davis?
Yeah, I know we've talked about this at length before, but also as part of this budget is obviously the unclassified roads. And I think the money that's been made available by this administration for unclassified roads has been fantastic. But in addition, the way in which we've implemented it has been a great approach. It's been place-based, it's been ward-based, we included all the local representatives, and it's given us a real ability in our own wards to try and prioritise what needs to be done. I'm very happy from a Home Valley South perspective that we've done that in a way which we've brought in all of the local ward councillors' views. Obviously, it'd be great to have more money, but I think it really does demonstrate this administration's commitment to making a difference within each of our various wards.
Thank you, Councillor Paul Davis. You want to come back in, Aid?
I just wanted to say thank you, a big thank you to all our staff, despite the difficulties involved during the pandemic. It has meant that there has been some delays. We are beginning to recruit, we're beginning to look to make sure that whatever we do is future-proofed, so that we're not going back and forth in trying to do that patch of work or that area. So I think the engagement exercise is a clear example of learning from the past and doing things better. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? No. So before we just vote in favour of the report, I'm hoping just a bit of reflection. A lot of people come from other parts of the country and they come to our authority, and especially recently, I'm sure you know what people know what I'm talking about, that there's something happening in Ballinspend, and everybody who's been down have said, actually, your roads are really nice. They're really, better than where they are coming from. A lot of the councillors I've met actually come from all over the country. A lot of them have been talking to me from Lancashire, from South Yorkshire, from beyond. And my feedback to them was, actually, it's really good that you actually noticed that we actually do it on top of our programme. And Naheed, what you just said, and the report that captures the amount of investment and what we're doing. But just to get things into context, there is still a £165 million backlog in our roads. So the work we're doing is being noticed, but you can also see from our residents' point of view, they will still see the massive backlog, and that's why we get the complaints. But it's good to know that, you know, we have got a plan. At this rate, if we keep on putting the money in, hopefully within 15-20 years' time, we'll probably get there. But by the time you start to get there, you then got some more backlog that's taking place, so you never catch up. So let's hope that A, the government gives us the money that Will mentioned earlier on, and B, we can find the resources, like Councillor Viv mentioned, that we can plough back into the savings. But really good report, Naheed, well done. Really good work from our officers, and we can just keep on trying our best. So on that note, can I just have a show of hands that we are all agreed to the report? Thank you very much, Cabinet Member. It's really nice to see you again. And I'll see you hopefully more often in person. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.